Hello gamers and welcome back. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshack if you want to call me by my in-game name. And now that it's been a couple weeks since the release of the Knights of the Frozen Throne, we've got to play with almost all of the cards, if not all of the cards by now. We can kind of say what are the good legendaries, what are the bad legendaries. Like we do after every expansion, I go through all of the current legendaries in standard format and I kind of rate them between 1 and 3, and I kind of give you the incentive of whether these are cards that you can normally disenchant without having to worry about them, or if these are cards maybe you should hold on to for the time being because they fit into either a lot of decks or there's a potential for them to really explode and be useful, you know, down the road. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with how we do this video, these videos are very long. I talk about, like I said, every single legendary. I tell you the pros, I tell you the cons, I tell you the decks they're found in, and I also tell you at the end whether you should disenchant it or not, and I rate it between the scale of 1 to 3. From there, I'm actually going to do this little video a little bit different. I'm going to split the class legendaries and the neutral legendaries because there's so many. So there's actually going to be a class legendary video, which will be this one, and then there'll be a neutral legendary video, which will be the one after this. So the first actual legendary that we're going to go over is going to be the Jungle Giants. It's the Druid quest. It's safe to say you can disenchant these. So we're going to scale these as number 1, as in do not disenchant. Number 1 is good tier. That's 1, good. 2 is it's okay based in some decks and some situations. It's not the best for its slot, but it's not horrible. So maybe if you're, you know, a free-to-play player, it's a card that you can hang on to a while and replace it over time. And then 3 is you can disenchant it. Don't you worry. Disenchanting it in any level, whether free-to-play or not, you don't have to worry about disenchanting it. 3 just absolutely fucking sucks. So Jungle Giants is a 3. This card sucks. You don't need this quest to make Ramp Druid good. You don't need it for Jade Druid. You don't need it for any form of Druid. Druid is just good on its own, and you don't need Jungle Giants to do it. It's just very wasteful of a card. Fandrel's a 1. You definitely don't want to disenchant this guy. This guy fits into Jade Druid. He fits into Token Druid. He fits into Aggro Druid. Whether or not you don't have to play him in Aggro Druid or not, but you can fit him just about in any Druid list that you want to, and he can find uses in there. Overall, like I said, good card. I wouldn't recommend disenchanting him, especially with Druid being as good as it is right now. Yeah. And even let's say you're playing a Druid deck and your Druid deck can't capitalize on choosing one. He's a card that I've mentioned in every single one of our disenchant videos. Like, just playing this card is super threatening for your opponent because if they don't deal with it, eventually it'll get value. So sometimes they'll go ahead and use too many resources to get rid of a guy that maybe you don't even have any follow-up for. So if anything, he's a bait. Like, he's a 4-mana 3/5. Your opponent's going to use something really big if they can't seem to remove him very easily. So there's just tons of uses for that guy. Overall, very good. Malfurion the Pestilent, this card is absolutely fucking insane. Again, you can fit this in kind of any Druid deck that you want. I've seen it from ranging into, of course, the Jade and Ramp Druid. I've even found it in some Aggro Druid lists or Token Druid lists just because he generates tokens and his hero power after you use this card is excruciatingly strong. Definitely rank this as a 1, no doubt. And like I said, Druid is just a really powerful deck right now. So, I mean, most of the Druid legendaries are pretty good, and just the Druid cards in general are very, very strong. So, very good card. Definitely don't disenchant. And if you want a winning deck, he's a good card to enchant. Sonaris, I put him in the 2 category. He's not really found in any Druid decks right now. There's just better cards, but he's not absolutely horrible. You know, if you're a free-to-play player, you open up your original packs or what should I say, basic packs or classic packs, however you want to call them, and you open up a Sonaris, you know, you can fit him into a bunch of different Druid decks. Whether he's the best card you could fit in the slot, probably not, but he's still not terrible. You know, he's not awful. So I put this guy in the 2 category. You can keep him for a little bit, but let's say you have Sonaris and you have the ability to disenchant him and craft Malfurion because you're missing that dust. That's probably a good thing to do, right? But I wouldn't recommend you, like, this is your only legendary and you disenchant him because you just want to disenchant him because he's not tier 1. It's up to you, but if you have 400 dust that is going to be going into like epics and rares and stuff that's actually tier 1 material sauce, go ahead and disenchant it, but he's really not that bad, so he's 2. This guy, the new Druid legendary, I fit him into my Ramp Druid. He's really not necessary in any deck. I almost can say you can put him into tier 3 category and disenchant him because you don't really need him. I have yet to play a single person who actually used this card against me. I think I am the only I've played hundreds of games this season, guys, and I played against hundreds and hundreds of you little Druids out there fucking running around and shit. And I have yet to see a single person play this card against me. ever. So I'm pretty sure it's safe to say you can disenchant this guy without a worry. The reason being, it's Death Rattle, guys. He's not a taunt, and he's a Death Rattle. Silence is crazy right now. Everybody's running some form of silence. He only has 3 attack. He's 9 mana. He doesn't impact the board. Like, if this guy had taunt, maybe we're talking. But the guy doesn't even have taunt. So it's tier 3 for sure. You can disenchant this guy, don't you worry. Kuhn, this is an interesting guy. He wasn't found in Jade Druid at all. Now he's starting to pop up in Jade Druid just so you can, like, Infestation or Ultimate Infestation. And then, well, you play this guy first and then you get full mana and then you Ultimate Infestation. You basically got a 5/5 and a 7/7 on the board. And it's a pretty big swing turn. Plus you draw 5 cards and all the yada, yada, yada. The card's fucking broken. Anyway, not this card, the Ultimate Infestation. But I really you don't have to play this card. Like, he's found in one deck. He used to be part of the Anivia Cthulhu combo, or Aviana, I should say, not Anivia, because that's a League of Legends character, and I know you guys are going to yell at me for those of you who just heard that, and you're just going to type it in and not going to listen that I actually caught myself. But either way, I don't think you really need this guy. You can put him in 2 if you really if you really want to play this guy. Feel free, but I think you can disenchant this guy. You really don't have to worry about too much. Like, there's just, in my opinion, better cards to put in your deck than a 10 mana 7/7 that you get to cast for free, considering you have Jades, right? Jade Idol, you play 1 mana and eventually they're going to be 7/7s, right? So I really don't think this is that great of a card. And keep in mind, guys, if there's a particular card that you really, really like or you disagree with me, like, Rob, I'm never disenchanting that because that card's amazing, go ahead. You don't have to disenchant it. This is just my recommendation to you. I wouldn't spend hours of my day making content trying to help you if I didn't actually, like, if it wasn't helpful. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to stray you guys down the wrong path to disenchant cards that you're going to need later. That wouldn't really do me any good because that doesn't help you, and me helping you makes it so hopefully you'll watch more of my content so I can help you further. So the comments are like, Rob, you're trying to bamboozle us to ruin our future and all of our collection. That would actually be anti-productive to what this channel's supposed to be. So next card is Tyrantus. 10 mana, 12/12 beast, can't be targeted by hero powers or spells. He's found in Ramp Druid, and he's a beast in Ramp Druid. Let me tell you, you throw out the Anaconda, which is an epic, and he pulls out a Tyrantus. Let me tell you, your opponent's making a little poopy in their pantos. So, good card in Ramp Druid, but only found in Ramp Druid, guys. And that's why I'm going to place this guy, as you can disenchant him, and you don't really have to worry about too much, because he's only found in one deck, and that one deck isn't as good as Jade Druid. Like, let's say the deck he was found in was tier 1. Maybe we're talking about keeping him, but the deck he's found in isn't tier 1. So I really wouldn't, like, recommend holding on to this card when it's found in a deck. And on top of that, the deck that this guy is found in costs a lot of dust. We're talking like 20,000 dust. So no free-to-play players playing Ram Druid, let me tell you. So it's fair. You can disenchant Tyrantus. I'd definitely put him as a 3 just because he's only found in one deck. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily the strongest of cards for you to have in your collection. That's good for, you know, a variety of different decks. Like Fandral is found in all kinds of Druid decks. Malfurion, all kinds of Druid decks. That guy, one Druid deck. It's not necessarily that great. Moving on to Hunter, we have the Marsh Queen. This is, again, the Hunter quest. Not that great. People thought it might be really, really good when it originally came out. After, you know, months of testing, it never really saw light. And now it's kind of just a joke. So you can disenchant this card without a worry. No one plays it. Tier 3 for sure. Professor Putricide. This is found in, there's some people that run it in their mid-range hunter, some don't. I like the card. A 4 mana 5/4 is strong regardless of if it gets an ability or not, and if you use it once, it automatically turns into a 4 mana 5/4 that generated 2 mana's worth of secret, and you know, if you play it with 1 or 2 secrets, he definitely got his value worth. So if you like Hunter, I would keep this card for sure. I wouldn't recommend disenchanting this guy off the bat because I really think Secret Hunter or mid-range Secret Hunter has it's got some wiggle room to get in there. So I wouldn't disenchant Professor Putricide. I'd put him in tier 1 for sure, just because I see potential in him. Knuckles, you can disenchant this guy. I mean, for the 5 mana 3/7, he's all right. But there's just better Hunter cards. Like, let's say you're a free-to-play player, you open up Knuckles, you have no Savannah High Mains, disenchant Knuckles, make 2 Savannah High Mains, and your deck is 10 times better. So, it's just not a good card. It was never really saw play. Princess Huntarian, I think this got played against me one time and the person lost. A 5 mana 6/5 beast, you know, the stats are there. It's a beast, so it's going to have some synergy. And a Battlecry trigger friendly Death Rattle minion. This works well in Death Rattle Hunter and Maybe you can make some form of egg hunter where you like, you know, trigger the egg to pop the 5/5 out, and then you get like a free 5/5, which could be useful. Maybe egg hunter can be a thing. Right now it's not. So I would have to say it's pretty safe to disenchant this card and not have to worry about it, given the fact that, first of all, hunter's not very popular. Second, I've only seen this card twice and it's been out a really long time. So I wouldn't really worry about disenchanting it. But again, if you really like hunter, you're a free-to-play player and this is your only hunter legendary, maybe you can try it in your deck. But again, I would disenchant it and just get like the hunter is like one of the cheapest class to build like a good deck for, because all the cards are just commons, rares, and maybe one epic or something like that. So hunter's really a cheap class to make. The Deathstalker Rexar, this isn't necessarily the best DK new legendary DK class card or whatever, but it's really fun. So if you're, I wouldn't, it's hard to say. I mean, I don't really recommend disenchanting it, because it could, again, see potential in the future. It's a really fun card, so even if you're not pumping out tier 1 status, you know, win rates with this particular card, you're gonna have a blast playing it. So I'd recommend playing it for at least a little bit, get your use out of it, and if you don't like it, get rid of it, but I would recommend holding it, just because the DK heroes are gonna be around in circulation for a while now, and it's just a cool card. Not necessarily the most powerful card, but I enjoy it. A Swamp King Dread, again, not really found in Hunter. Like, I mean, 7 mana, 9/9 beast after your opponent plays a minion, attack it, so it seems really powerful, right? But again, there's just a lot of removal. It's a very control-ish meta right now, besides with the Pirate Warriors and aggro Jade Druids, or aggro Druids running around. It's a very control-ish meta, and there's a lot of single target removal. Like a simple execute gets rid of this guy. Deadly Shot, which I've fucking seen all the time in Hunter recently. I don't know why. You know, Warlocks have Siphon Soul. There's a lot of BGHs running around. So, I mean, play him at your own risk. I would put him as a 2. He's not absolutely awful. But again, he's one of these cards that you can disenchant. It's not a Hunter card that you need. Like, you can hit Legend with a Hunter deck, and you don't need this guy. You can disenchant this guy and make other really good cards. So he's not necessarily the best. And then King Crush, you can get rid of this guy. This guy, he was, I think, once pretty good, like in vanilla Hearthstone, but not right now. That's why I don't have him, because he's just pointless to have. There's not a deck that you want to play this guy, and I'd rather just play Call of the Wild and just make 3 minions, and one of them has 5 damage off the bat anyway. So and that goes over Hunter. So looking at Mage, we have Open the Waygate. So there's 2 decks that currently utilize this Mage quest card. It's going to be the Exodia Mage, and it's going to be the other one, the Giants Mage. We actually just recently did a deck guide on the Giants Mage deck, which is, in my opinion, really fun deck to play. We haven't done a deck guide on the Exodia Mage yet, but I suppose I can do that in the future. If you want to play either one of those decks, it's a good card. If you don't want to play Exodia Mage and or Giants Mage, which are both OTK decks and fairly expensive, you can disenchant this card and not have to worry about a thing. Again, there are 2 decks that utilize this card, and both of them are pretty good. I wouldn't say they're the best, but they're okay. So I would say disenchant at your own risk, depending on if those decks are, you know, interesting for you. If you have no intention to play an OTK Mage deck, and that's just not the kind of deck that you enjoy, again, you can disenchant this, so you don't have to worry about a thing. Pyros. This guy is found in some control mages. He's found in some tempo mages. Overall, not a bad card. I would say keep him. If you enjoy playing mage, he fits into a variety of different mage decks. You know, elemental mage. He fits into, like I said, burn mage. Well, some burn mages. And control mage. So he's not bad. I would keep him. Archmage. Let's go to the gold one because he looks much better. Definitely keep. He's part of the classic set or basic set, or whatever you want to call it. He currently never is going to get rotated, so crafting this card is a safe bet. And let's say you craft this card and they do end up rotating, they're going to give you full dust for this guy, so you don't really have to worry about it, because you're never going to lose anything, because they're just going to give you back what you would have lost if they happen to then rotate them, but I don't think they ever will. So this guy is a safe craft bet. I don't know why that was so hard. He's definitely safe craft, and I wouldn't disenchant him, not at all. Inkmaster is found in the Kazakis Mage, which is currently not very popular. I wouldn't say it's a bad deck. I just say it wouldn't be very popular, but you can run Kazakis Mage without Inkmaster, and the deck would run fine. So I think you can actually disenchant her. You wouldn't really have to worry about a thing. Like currently, I don't even play her in my Kazakis Mage deck, and I think it's pretty good. So, yeah. But if you like Kazakis Mage, I'd keep her. But if not, you can get rid of her. Anomalous, card's horrible. 3, disenchant it. You never have to worry about it ever. There's not a deck he ever fits in. He's just bad. He's just bad. just bad. Syndragosa. This is probably, I haven't done a ton of testing with this card yet, I'm going to be honest, guys. And I actually haven't seen a single person play it against me, which I think is a good indicator too. I haven't played a whole lot of Mage this particular season because Mage it doesn't give me that oomph. There's just a lot of cool classes that I want to play, and just Burn Mage isn't one of them. We played a lot of Burn Mage prior to the season before this. But Syndragosa is a good value card. I wouldn't necessarily put it as awful, but I wouldn't put it as the best card. I'd keep it. I think it might have potential in the future for maybe some form of value or control mage, so I'd keep it for now. And I don't think it's necessarily that bad of a card. And the last one, we have Frostless Jaina. I'm going to follow the same DK rule. For the most part, these DK cards are, like, as this isn't like the most prominent one you're going to see, you know, the Warlock one is very, very popular. The Druid one is very, very, very popular. And the Priest one is extremely popular as well. So those are like three of the, you know, ones that are being in rotation, you know, a lot right now. But this one, I think, again, has potential, and I don't think it's bad at all. So I would definitely keep the Frostless Jaina. And it fits, like I said, it could fit into control decks, fit into burn decks. It can fit into your elemental deck. There's potential for that card to definitely grow. Moving to Paladin. Hold on. We have the last Kalididasaur. I fucked that shit up. This card is just bad. The quest Paladin has never been a good deck. Completing the quest to generate one minion that can get silenced or just destroyed or whatever is just awful. You can disenchant this without worry. Weaker Flame's a good card. I would not recommend disenchanting this card. Definitely a 1. Fits into most Paladin decks, if not all Paladin decks. Bolivar Fireblood is a... I've seen him played, I think, once or twice, and the decks that they played it in were not really that refined. I don't think it's I don't think it's a staple in any current Paladin list, given that the most Paladin lists are just the Murloc Paladin. I've seen a couple control Paladins running around, but they don't seem to be that powerful in consideration of like how bursty the Murloc Paladin is. So I don't think this card is necessarily that good, but it's one of those cards that I would probably recommend to hold on for a little bit, and maybe it'll find use for like in a bubble up Paladin. Down the road, because I really think that they printed this card, and he's not going to find value in this particular set, but maybe in the next set when the Divine Shield mechanic can grow a little bit, I think this card will actually be pretty good. So I'd give this guy time. I'd let this card ruminate in your collection for a little bit. Sunkeeper Tarim, very, very good. Tier 1. If you play Paladin, and fucking make this guy as soon as possible, and if not, don't disenchant him. The card's absolutely broken. He's insane sauce. He is one of the reasons Paladin is so strong right now. Ragnaros the Light Lord. He was originally found a lot in Paladin. Almost every single Paladin list you can think of ran, you know, Ragnaros the Light Lord, Tyrion, Wicker Flame, and Sunkeeper. But now, with the Murloc Paladins, they run Tyrion, they run Sunkeeper. Some of them run Wicker Flame, most of them don't. But Ragnaros is a card they actually cut. Given that he's just not, I wouldn't say he's too slow. He's just, there's better cards for the 8 slot. Like, you know, Stonehill Defender can give Paladins multiple Tyrions, and if you have multiple Tyrions, most of the time you'd rather play a Tyrion over than a Ragnaros the Light Lord. This is a very defensive card. You know, it heals your minions or your face for 8 every turn, given the fact that Tyrion gives you a 5/3 Assbringer that can just go to town on your opponent. So, good card. I would definitely not disenchant this card, because it does have potential in a lot of different decks, especially Control Paladin. So just because it's not played a ton right now doesn't mean it's not good. So I definitely would not disenchant the Ragnaros. And Tyrion, this guy is just a god, part of, again, the basic or classic set, as you would want to call it. It's not getting rotated out ever, currently by Blizzard standings. So this is definitely, again, a safe card to craft, just like the Archmage, and it's a good card that fits into any Paladin deck. You know, you play aggro, mid-range, or control, Tyrion fits in there because he's just fucking broken. That card is just good. And then we got Uther the Ebon Blade, again, part of the DK, the new DK Legendary Synergy. I would not recommend disenchanting this guy, and if you have any intention to play any form of control Paladin, definitely throw this guy in your deck. He's very, very good, and his weapon, again, a 5/3 lifesteal Assbringer, you know what I'm saying? Very good. Awaken the Makers. This is going to follow the same trend as most of the quest, or the legendary quests. It's just bad. There was only really like 2 or 3 good legendary quests, and that was the Rogue before the nerf. Now after the nerf and the slowing of the meta, it's actually quest Rogue is actually pretty good. but don't tell anybody that because I really don't want to see it on ladder, but the deck is actually pretty good. And then we have Quest Warrior, which again is good, but the Awaken the Wakers has always been kind of just a memey, very slow deck. Sure, you can have some fun with it. You can make like a Raza, N'Zoth, Awaken the Makers priest deck. Sure. Is it going to be really, really good? Probably not. Does this have to be in your collection for it to be good? No. So you can disenchant this card, don't you worry. Lyra, I would definitely keep this card. It's a good card. It fits into a variety of different priest decks. Not all priest decks play Lyra because, you know, dragon decks are very minion heavy, and with minion heavy decks, Lyra doesn't see its full potential because she combos off spells that you play in a single turn. So normally you want to play like Radiant Elementals, Lyra, you combo, you know, 2 to 5 spells in a single turn, you generate a ton of value and you get a bunch of cards in your hand. And dragon decks, that doesn't really work, and currently the only really viable priest decks are the dragon versions, or you have like the Raza, Kazakis, Anduin DK deck, which we'll get to when we talk about Anduin. So there is a purpose for her, and she fits into most priest decks, but not all. So I definitely keep her. I definitely put her as a 1. Raza, again, this is currently found in only one priest deck, and that is going to be the Raza Kazakis Anduin deck. I think they call it Highlander Priest. I don't know where the word Highlander came from, but that's what they're calling it. That's what the kids are calling it these days. So if you have an intention to play that deck, if you have any intention to play priest whatsoever, do not disenchant this guy because he is like an auto include into that particular deck. But if you don't like priest and you have no intention of playing priest, you can get rid of this guy. He's not going to hurt your collection at all. And I don't think he's going to stop you from playing other priest decks in the future besides just that one Kazakis one, which is a very powerful deck. Don't get me wrong. This is a very powerful card, but it only fits into one archetype of priest. So that's why I kind of don't value him as highly as some others, but he's still very good. Falaj, you can disenchant this guy. He's a 3. He's awful. Don't you worry. This guy, haven't even crafted him yet. Haven't seen a single person play him. Haven't even seen another streamer play him. And I haven't seen, again, anybody play against me with him. You can disenchant this guy. Don't you worry. He's just kind of bad. Prophet Velen. So, before the new expansion came out and I went over this guy, I basically put him in tier 3 and said you can get rid of him. He doesn't really fit in any deck. He fits into some OTK priests, but that's not a thing, right? So, but now with the Highlander Priest, and it gives your hero power the ability to do damage, and that damage is basically free because it costs 0 mana because you combo cards like Raza. All of a sudden, Prophet Velen has now seen a lot of play in Highlander Priest, which gives me a reason to let you hold him onto your collection. So again, if you plan on building the Kazakis Raza Highlander Priest deck with the Shadow Reaper Anduin, you should keep your Prophet Velen, and he's not a bad card to craft. But again, he only fits in that one particular deck, and no other priest deck. He doesn't fit in any other priest deck. You can put him in other priest decks, and he's not a bad card, so I put him at, you know, rank 2. He's not a tier 1 card, but he's not like an auto get rid of, like, he's not a Hero Village, you know what I'm saying? He's not this shitty guy. He's a good guy, but he's not the ultimate guy. So you can do what you want with him depending on how much you do or do not play priest. And then we have Shadow Reaper. I would say just keep this guy in general. He's good whether or not you're going to be playing. You know, you can throw him in your dragon deck. You can throw him in your control deck. He's just a good. This is just a good card in general. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he has a Shadow Ward Death for the entire board basically gives you another AOE, which is huge. I've fallen prey to this guy so many times. He's very good against Jades. You know, your opponent makes 2 or 3 big Jades. You throw this guy down there. Boop, the Jades are gone. No problem. And especially if you combo him with Raza, you make the hero power cost 0, and you just keep refilling your void form every time you play a card. It costs 0. Bada bing, bada boom. Couple turns go over, and your opponent's dead. So good deck, no doubt. Moving to the next one, we have Caverns from Below. So I disenchanted mine because I said fuck Rogue. I got the full dust refund, so I was able to get 1600 when they nerfed it. So if I ever craft it again, I actually didn't lose any dust because they gave me 1600 back, and it's going to cost 1600 to craft. I also mentioned that I would have to say before this expansion, but after the nerf, this card was horrible. Now that the expansion is here, the meta has indeed slowed down enough for the Caverns Below to see play. I actually saw a lot of quest rogues while on my grind to legend between the ranks of 3 and 1. There was a lot of quest rogues in there. And by a lot, I don't mean as much as Jade Druid guys, but a lot more than you might expect. So it's not a bad card. I would definitely... If you have any intention to play Quest Rogue, now is the time. because the meta is going to speed up. Once people start, you know, finding the cure to Jade Druid, which is basically aggro decks, no one's refined an aggro deck, but when they do, Jade Druid's going to get fucked, and then so are every person's playing Caverns Below, because Caverns Below beats Jade Druid, believe it or not. So maybe the cure is the Caverns Below, but we'll have to see. Anyway, not a bad card. I'd give it a shot, and the deck's actually pretty good, believe it or not. You can disagree with me all you want, but Rob, the deck sucks, or it costs 5 minions to go back instead of 4. Dude, with it costing 5 requires the person who's playing Rogue to actually play the deck with some finesse now, because they have to utilize their cards very, like before with 4, you could literally just throw up and you'd be good, man. It's not hard to generate a minion 4, but the 5th time is actually pretty fucking difficult. So if you're good with this deck, you'll do big things. Edwin, definitely keep it. He finds its way into almost every single Rogue deck. The ability to, depending on what your hand looks like 1 out of 10 games, you're going to be able to make like a turn 2 or turn 3, 8-8 to 12-12 Edwin, which can just win you the game on the spot. And that happens fairly often. I want to say, 1 out of 10 games, so if you play, 30 games in a day or 20 to 30 games a day, it's going to happen, decent amount. You get a lot of free wins like that. So definitely keep tier 1. I wouldn't disenchant him. Shaku. So this guy used to be found in a lot of different Rogue decks, almost all over the chart, whether you were playing aggro, tempo, miracle. It's a good card, a good value card. The fact that he gets stealth means that when he attacks, you're almost always able to generate that free card he's going to give. And if it sits on the board for more than 1 turn, the value off of this guy is just absolutely insane. The problem is miracle Rogue, tempo Rogue, aggro Rogue, pirate Rogue, whatever Rogue you can think of is not very popular right now. Even though they should be, because Jade is absolutely fucking obliterating ladder right now. So I like this guy. Personally, I like this guy. I think he should be, you should try to fit him in your Rogue decks. Maybe not Jade Rogue, because I've already built that deck, and I was able to fit him in here, fit this guy in that deck without him. No, I was able to make that deck without fitting this guy in because he was just a little bit too slow and clunky in the deck. But if you're going to try to build like a value or an Azoth Rogue or a Miracle Rogue, I would definitely say keep this guy. So, and I think in the future, maybe in the next couple sets, we might see some form of Tempo Rogue that isn't Miracle, and this guy's going to be found in there. Lillian Voss, this card just fucking sucks. I don't know what they were trying to do. Like, the 4 mana 4/5 is good, but then Battlecry, replace spells in your hand with random spells from your opponent's class. It's like, I put spells in my deck for a reason. I want to use those spells, and I don't want to just make random spells. Like, Rogue is turned into like this generate random. I mean, look at this guy, generate random. So you can disenchant this card. You don't have to worry about a thing. Sherzin is found in Miracle Rogue, and that's it. So if you have no intention of playing Miracle Rogue, you can kind of get rid of this card. But if you like Miracle Rogue or some form of Tempo Rogue that is similar to Miracle in the fact that you play, a bunch of cards every turn, and you're able to draw a lot with, like, whether it's Auctioneer or Sprint, which I've seen Prep Sprint recently. They scared the shit out of me, man. They Prep Sprinted and they drew 4 cards on turn 4, and I was holy moly mackerel. So again, really, really powerful card in one deck. This guy fits in Miracle. This guy can fit in a variety of different decks. So if I was a free-to-play player and I was like, all right, well, what card do I want? This fits in more decks. Maybe this isn't as powerful in all of those decks as this is in that one, but at least you get the variety in there, which I think every new player needs to play a variety of different decks to see what they like the best and then hone in from there. So again, it's definitely a tier 1 in Miracle Rogue. If you don't want to play Miracle Rogue, or you just don't like Rogue, which a lot of people don't like, you can disenchant him, don't you worry. Zero, this guy, I used to value him really highly in my Tempo Rogue deck. I really did like him, but you can disenchant this guy, no worries. He doesn't really fit into any Rogue right now. I would value Zero. I would value Shaku a lot more than the Zero right now. So, like, and that's saying something. So Zero, get rid of him. You don't need him. No problem. Valir, again, keep this card. It's part of the new DK card sets. There's a lot of unexplored region in here, and like modifying deck and refining those decks. Currently, my Jade Rogue is doing very well win rate wise, and this card is found in Miracle. It's found in some Tempo Rogues, and it's even found, of course, in the Jade Rogue. So I would definitely keep this card 100%. Would not change. Would not change, would not disenchant. Why do I see like there's like a part of my hair sticking up, and it's bothering me so fucking much because I see it on camera. There we go. Holy shit, guys. Hopefully that wasn't triggering you guys. No. Right here. All right, I got it. I got it, boys. All right, we're good. Sorry about that. That's probably super distracting for some of you, but I was like, it was awful. All right, Unite the Murlocs. No. This card has never been good, and I don't think it'll ever be good. So, it's just not, I mean, sure, it's a fun meme kind of deck, you know, play a bunch of Murlocs, you get a Mega Fin, he refills your hand with Murlocs, but it's not, you get bored of the deck exceedingly quickly. I was trying to brew up with the deck, and I couldn't, it just wasn't there. So, yeah, you can disenchant this guy, don't you worry. And this thing is sticking up, I still see it there, so give me a second. The next is going to be Halaziel. This guy was actually found a decent amount in Control Shaman when that was a thing. But unfortunately, Control Shaman is not a thing. I've been trying to brew something up with it for a while now, and I can't seem to get the deck list just right. I would definitely put this guy in the tier 2 category, where I wouldn't recommend disenchanting him right away because there is still potential with this guy, but he's just not the greatest. Again, let's say you're trying to make, you know, a Jade Druid deck and you're missing 400 dust because you need to craft whatever. This is, again, not a bad card to disenchant, but if you can hold on to the dust for this guy, I would, because, again, he could see play in the future, and he's not necessarily that bad. Thrall, again, keep it. It's going to follow the same DK rule we've been over before. He's just a good card in general. He fits well into Pokemon Shaman, whether Pokemon Shaman meaning Evolve Shaman. We get a lot of questions about that. I figure Pokemon Evolve, so people would correlate Pokemon and Evolve together, but no, it doesn't really work like that anyway. Just good card. He doesn't fit into every Shaman deck, but he fits into most Shaman decks, and he's definitely not bad at all. We got Wide-Eyed and Bushy Tails. As Wide-Eyes isn't the most popular, again, card to be played right now because Death Rattle Shaman and Control Shaman aren't really popular. I'm working on a N'Zoth Control Death Rattle Shaman right now, and hopefully it'll be good. I'm working hard, but again, I wouldn't really disenchant Wide-Eyes because you can fit him into your, you know, mid-range Shaman list or your Jade Shaman list if you really want to. He's not a bad card. Again, I would put him in that 2 category where there is better cards, but is he the worst? No. This guy is pretty fucking bad in my opinion, though. He's just too slow. I haven't really seen, I have yet to see a single person play this card against me. I played, again, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games this season since the new cards have been out. Yet to see a single person play this guy. I guess the only, actually I lied. I've seen him off a Moonglade portal. I think I saw him off a Moonglade portal. Either way, he's not good. You can disenchant this guy, don't you worry. Maybe in the future there'll be some freeze Shaman, but currently nothing exists. And Alakir, he's not the best card. I'm going to be honest right now. There's not a single Shaman deck that actually plays this guy. You can get him off a Stonehill Defender, which is currently a common. And you don't, like I said, you don't have to have this card in your deck because Stonehill Defender gives them to you. But the thing is, sometimes in the meta, this guy is actually pretty good. When mid-range Shaman was, you know, a powerhouse deck, some people played Alakir. Sometimes later, Control Shaman, people run Alakir, burst potential. I would have to say it's pretty safe to disenchant this guy, but again, he's part of the basic legendary set, which means it's never going to rotate out. So if this guy is always just there, eventually he'll be good again. I'm thinking that because he's never going to rotate out, you know what I mean? I'm sure between now and the infinity of what is Hearthstone expansions, this guy will eventually be good again, at which point you'll have to recraft him if you disenchanted him. But again, I don't know when that's going to be. Currently, I don't really see where this guy is good. 8 mana, 3/5 is just not where this meta is right now. That's just not good enough. That's not cutting it in the least. Jade Druid just fucking laughs at this card right now. For 2 more mana, we can get a 5/5, get 5 armor, summon, or draw 5 cards and deal 5 damage. like this guy is just kind of, he's just sad. He's very sad and pathetic. But maybe eventually he'll see play again. So I'd put this guy in like the 2 category maybe. But most of the time, I think you can disenchant. Like, you can disenchant this guy. You don't have to worry about a thing. And Calamos, only found in Elemental Shaman. Is Elemental Shaman a thing right now? It is not. I haven't seen a single person play Elemental Shaman since the new cards come out. Not to say it's not good, but I just think in comparison to what else is there, like what we have out there, it's just not as good as what we like originally before the expansion, right? We got Death Knights, we got Jades, and we got like Highlander Priest and shit, and RNG Fest Priest, which is the fucking big priest, and it's just, this guy is, it just doesn't compete with that shit, man. An 8 mana 4/4, no. We need a 1 mana 12/12. That's a Jade Idol. So if you have no intention to play Elemental Shaman, you can disenchant this guy. But if you like Elemental Shaman, keep him, because he only fits an Elemental Shaman. That is it. All right, so moving on to Warlock. We have Warlock and Warrior, and that would be our class Ultimate Legendaries Disenchant, guys. Hold in with me. I know this is a long video. Trust me, my voice is starting to die out. All right, Lakari Sacrifice. The Warlock Legendary Quest. This has always been a joke. I think it will always be a joke because the discard mechanic, as powerful as it can be sometimes, because you can discard your silverware golems and your clutch mothers. A lot of the times you don't get so lucky and you discard very important cards and you get fucked. On top of that, the Nether Portal, it gives you, summons the imps at the beginning, I believe the beginning of the turn, or no, it summons at the end of the turn, which means your opponent can actually just kill them during their turn, which is really annoying. Actually, it might be the beginning of the turn. I don't know, man. I just know you can't attack with the imps when they come out, and your opponent can kill them right away. Either way, this card fucking sucks. You can disenchant it, don't you worry. I feel kind of like a scrub not knowing whether it's at the beginning or the end of the turn, but it's because this card is never played. Clutch Mother. If the discard mechanic was good, she would be good. The discard mechanic just isn't good, so therefore she is not good. And it's also one of those cards that's only good if this card is in your hand, currently being discarded over and over again, and that just doesn't happen a lot, guys. It's just the deck is so inconsistent that you just can't guarantee that the discard mechanic is going to land on particular cards. If card says this card has to be discarded first, then the discard mechanic can make sense because you're able to assume what you're going to discard. Those cards that discards have synergies, and you're able to work from there. But the cards that it discards are just all random, and most of the more than not, you just get kind of bamboozled, and it just sucks. Another discard mechanic, the new Warlock Legendary. So again, you can disenchant, no problem. Disenchant, no problem. And another disenchant, no problem. Blood Queen. She's a 5-mana 1/6 lifesteal. Has +1 attack for each card you've discarded this game, so it doesn't actually have to be in your hand. It can just be in your deck. So this is one of those cards that you want to draw into late game after you've discarded a lot, and maybe you've discarded 5 or 6 cards. She turns into like a 5-mana 5/6 lifesteal. But even that's like, okay, like that's cool, but that's not that's a lot of asking for. You know, you have to draw her on time. That's assuming you're not dead. She doesn't have taunt. So, I don't know. She just doesn't seem that great, and you can disenchant her. You don't have to worry about it. Like, let's say in 2 expansions, the discard mechanic is like a god mechanic. Let's hope not, because it's very random. But I'm sorry if I told you to disenchant these cards, but currently these cards have never been good, and I don't think they will ever be good. Cho'Gall, this card's just, again, just bad. The 7-mana 7/7 battle cry. The next spell you cast this turn costs health instead of mana. In all my time that this guy has been around, I have yet to see, again, a single player play him against me. He gets randomly generated sometimes, right? But he's just bad. There's just better cards to be played. Instead, you can disenchant this guy. Don't you have to worry. I have to say Warlock has a lot of shitty legendaries, man. Cruelly Unshackled, again, you can disenchant this guy. You don't have to worry about anything. He's just really bad. A 9-mana 7/9 battle cry. If your deck has no duplicates, summon all demons from your hand. So I suppose if you want to run your Kazakus demon discard Warlock, you're more than welcome to. But if you're trying to win any form of games, you don't play this card and you disenchant him. So for the cards that are really bad, like this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one, there's really good cards like Jiraxxus. This guy's fucking crazy. He's the 9-mana 3/15. The thing is, he's not a minion that goes on the board. Your hero actually turns into Lord Jiraxxus. You get a 3/7 weapon. Your hero power changes into a 2-mana summon a 6/6 demon, and you are fucking unstoppable. Your health does go down to 15, and you lose all armor associated with you, if you have any armor, which as a Warlock, you probably shouldn't. He's just a super endgame late card. He's basically what I would consider the first DK ever like released. He's not actually a DK, but he changes your hero power into something exceedingly strong when you play him, and your opponent is then on a clock. That's very similar to every DK that came out. You know, the priest one, the new Warlock one. When they play the DK, you have X number of turns to live until you die. There is actually a clock, and when it hits reached, you are dead. So I definitely, this guy fulfills that. Very, very powerful. And if you didn't see my new Demon Handlock deck guide, I recommend you watch it because, you know, it really emphasizes these new cards, and I think it's a lot of fun. The next one's going to be Blood Reaver Gul'dan, the new DK card. Very powerful in my opinion. Again, up to par with Jiraxis and power level. I don't know which one is better. If you say, Rob, which one's better, Gul'dan or Jiraxis? I don't know. It all depends on the situation. Sometimes one is better than the other. Sometimes they're both bad. Actually, I lied. They're never bad because they're just amazing. But most of the time, both have their pros and cons, just like with any card. And definitely keep this card. Fits well into Demon Handlock. Fits well into just Handlock. The card's just, I've seen even some people try to run their discard aggro Warlock decks, and they run this guy in the hopes that they bring back Doomguard. More times than not, they end up discarding Blood Reaver Gul'dan, which is part of the problem of the deck. So they discard this guy, and it's just completely useless for them. So definitely a great card. Do not disenchant. If you can craft him, I recommend it. He's just super cool. Fire Plume's Heart. This is one of the, I believe, the only quest besides the Rogue one that I told you that I don't recommend disenchanting, just because Taunt Warrior can still be good. I actually think, I mean, currently with all the Jade out there, maybe this isn't the best deck to be playing, but if you run Geist in your deck and you're playing Taunt Warrior, for the most part, you're going to be able to Geist. The biggest card they're going to make is, I think, a 9/9 or a 10/10. From there, you know, double execute, shield slams, brawls, and even if you play a Dead Man's Hand or two, and plus the hero power that this is going to give you, I think you can actually deal with Jade Druid maybe pretty well with Taunt Druid or Taunt Warrior. So I recommend holding on to this. I wouldn't recommend disenchanting this, just because the hero power this gives you is so very, very strong, very similar to Gul'dan and Jiraxis. The Grapple Hammer is just awful. He doesn't fit into any decks. Originally, he was found in Pirate Warrior when it first came out. Everybody was playing Grapple Hammer, and then they realized that why are we playing a 2-mana 2/2 that's not a pirate, that's only giving our weapons +1 attack and not durability? If it gave it durability and attack, it would be absolutely fucking insane. If it gave just durability, it would be playable, but just attack is not playable. Malkarok is a card that used to be played in Tempo Warrior, when that was a thing, right? And it was pretty good. It was played in Dragon Warrior too. It was pretty good. Currently, it's not found in any Warrior deck because the only Warrior deck is Pirate Warrior. And if you're playing any other than Pirate Warrior, you're just getting punished by any other control deck because they just do it better. The Warrior DK fucking sucks. I don't know. We've been over how my thoughts about this. But Rob, it gives you a 4/3 weapon. Okay, well, look at the fucking Paladin. You get a 5/3 weapon that has lifesteal, and you get a hero power that gets 2/2s. And if you get 4 of them, you win the game. This guy gives you a 2-mana, deal 1 damage to everything. The heller, not even fucking close. Anyway, so Malkarok really isn't the greatest right now because he doesn't really fit. He's a good card, but he doesn't really fit anywhere in the Warrior class. So I would say hold on to him if you think that Tempo Warrior is going to be a thing, or if you just like the card. But in general, you can disenchant this guy and you don't have to worry about anything because he doesn't currently fit into any Warrior deck. Again, Tempo Warrior might arise somewhere and you'll actually want to play this guy, but currently he doesn't really fit. So that's why I kind of, he's a 2. You know what I'm saying? Hellscream, never disenchant. He's just a good card in general. Found in Control Warrior, found in some Taunt Warriors, found in Tempo Warrior, found in N'Zoth Warrior. Not that those are popular, but I should mention him because he's found in them. He's never going to get cycled out, so eventually he'll be good again. And he's just a good card in general, so I would not disenchant this guy. Rodface. I've tested him. He's found in my What the Fuck Warrior deck. For those of you who haven't seen that deck, I highly recommend you check it out. It's very, very fun. Not the most consistent deck in the world, but very fun and nonetheless. Rotface is in that deck, but besides that deck, I have yet to see a single person actually play this card. I have actually yet to see a single person attempt the Tempo Warrior and actually successfully do it as well as we did it in our What the Fuck Warrior deck testings. We were killing some plebs in that. You know, dealing 33 damage in 1 turn feels pretty fucking nice. But overall, Rotface is a card that you can disenchant. This card ultimately is really bad. We just play him because it's me and I want to make him good, so I have to make him good. But for those of you who actually just want a good deck and don't want to waste your time with shitty cards, you can disenchant this guy. Don't have to worry about a thing. Scourge Lord Garrosh, because I'm going to follow the same DK thing. You can keep him. Maybe he'll eventually be good, but just in comparison to all the other DKs, he's actually the worst out of all of them, in my opinion. He's absolutely horrible. This is embarrassing, and I'm ashamed that Blizzard decided to print a Warrior card as shameful as him. The only thing that doesn't make this card absolutely, completely, and utterly dog shit is because he has a Shadowmourne, and it attacks the minions next to it, which is very, very powerful. but that doesn't make up for the entirety of the card in general, because that's only one part, and you have to look at all parts. If you just look at one part and that's it, that's not good enough. So, you can keep him, but he's just not good. He's not found in any warrior deck besides sometimes N'Zoth warrior or Dead Man's Hand warrior, and even in there I actually removed him because he's just bad. But I recommend you keep him because maybe he'll eventually be good. King Mosh is a card that I don't think will ever be good, and you can disenchant this card without a second thought in your mind. Just psh, gone. Get rid of this. No problem. It's gone. But Rob, there's Whirlwind, and then you King Mosh and you kill the board. Why? Why would you want to use a 2-card combo to kill the entire board when there's cards like Brawl that cost 5 mana and it doesn't require 2 cards? You know what I mean? Like, there's just better cards. Not that this is necessarily the worst card in the game, but it's just pretty bad in comparison to what the warrior has on the other hand. So with that, that wraps up our class, the ultimate class legendary guide. I'll be going over all of the neutral legendaries, which there is a fucking plethora of these bad boys. So this will be in the next episode, which should be at the bottom. If it's not there, it'll be up there shortly, guys. So again, I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Again, if you have any comments, questions, or concerns, or something that I didn't go over that you would like to add on to any of the cards that I went over, feel free to do that. Again, I can't cover I try to cover as much as I can, but I'm sure that there's some stuff that I left out about each card, or if you want to just put in your input, the comment section is there for those people who are looking for some more information, because again, I only can do so much. I try to give you as much as I got, but I'm sure you can even elaborate further, of course. So with that, thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode, and I look forward to hearing your feedback on if you agree with what I said, or just what you have to add on to what I said. As always, I'm Robert Warshack, and happy whatever the hell day it is.